back here with another stream. Hopefully, all of you are having a wonderful morning. It is Wednesday, February 8th, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time if you're watching us live. Crypto has not moved a whole lot here in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin hovering just below 23K yet again. Crypto market cap sitting at $1.076 billion. ETH at 1663 again. Not a whole lot of movement. Price action on these altcoins and such. Binance Coin 328, Cardano 39.57 cents, Dogecoin right around 9.1 cents. Matic seems to be going up a bit. I remember just yesterday, not literally yesterday, but a few weeks ago it was like 97 cents, and now we're sitting at $1.30. Seems to be outperforming of altcoins in the top 20 during this bear market with all the developments. But headed over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we can see that we are coming down a bit here on the hourly chart. We'll see if this bleeds into the later part of today, heading into the afternoon and early evening. You can see Bitcoin seems to want to retest these lines of support right around 22.9, 22.85, and again, we'll see if the bears are in charge or not. Looking at the hourly chart, we can see that Bitcoin kind of had this huge little pump and then dump, but then recovery, and it tried to reach 23.5 yesterday, but ultimately got rejected, and since then looks to be retesting this line of support somewhere around 22.8, 22.9. Again, we'll see if that holds up. DXY seems to have possibly found support right around 102.97, and again, this could spell some trouble for stocks and crypto if this continues to trend higher. Time will tell on that. But headed over to Twitter, highest paid fifth place ever. Back in the day when there was a StarCraft competition, if you got fifth to eighth place, basically the losers, you got 25 Bitcoins each. That's pretty crazy. We now know that those 25 Bitcoins that you would have won is worth all of these combined. That's pretty crazy to think about, if you ask me. Imagine losing and you actually end up winning in the long term as a result. 412 Bitcoin worth of $9.6 million just moved from an address that was dormant for 11 years. That's some serious hodling. That's crazy to think about. 412 Bitcoin here. We had what looks to be like 100 Bitcoins given out between 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th place. Here we have 4 times that amount, 412 Bitcoin moved, and it hasn't been moved for 11 years. Think about that. That means they've been holding since 2012, roughly speaking. Maybe a little bit, maybe like late 2011. That's pretty crazy to think about. If Bitcoin is speculative, what do you call a $275,000 college loan with no guarantee of a job? Yeah, good question. I think it's very speculative as well. Though not everyone has to spend that much money to go to school. The reality is some majors are massively underpaid, and as a result, somebody who didn't go to school might be making more money than somebody who did go to school, depending on the degree. That's not always the case, but That does sometimes happen, and it makes you wonder: is college really worth it if you're not going after a particular degree? People need an asset that cannot be debased, running on a network that cannot be stopped, governed by a protocol that cannot be corrupted. Hashtag Bitcoin. Here we have Michael Saylor, um, being bullish on Bitcoin, talking about the need for people to adopt it and pump his bags essentially. I don't like to say that's like his motive or anything, but you do have to remember that Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy owns a significant amount of Bitcoin. Here's the focus of today's video. This is very bullish news. We've known about it for a while now here on the channel. We've discussed it before, but Shell, the world's second largest investor owned oil and gas company, is sponsoring the Bitcoin conference later this year. It's a big deal. Sooner or later, the other giants of the energy industry will adopt Bitcoin. Bitcoin has too much to offer to be ignored forever. So, Shell, a huge energy giant, looks to be sponsoring a Bitcoin conference later this year. And why is that significant? Well, if history is any indicator, if Shell does this, what's stopping Bitwage? What's stopping oh my god, Sinclair? What's stopping Citgo? What's stopping BP from doing the same? Think of the implications here, guys. Pretty big stuff. I'm not saying this is going to activate all the dominoes, but I think this is definitely getting things into motion for that to happen. Turkey's largest exchange partners with local nonprofits to enable global Bitcoin donations for earthquake victims. Condolences to anybody who's lost family over in Syria or Turkey with the latest earthquake. Death toll is pretty high. Not good. A lot of pain and suffering going on over there. So again, my condolences to anybody who has knows anybody, or if you've personally lost a loved one to the earthquake. UK bank NatWest is blocking customers from transferring money to Bitcoin and crypto exchanges. Change banks by hashtag Bitcoin. If you recall, in yesterday's stream, we discussed how many of the banks, the big bank giants over in England, are actually blocking transfers of funds to crypto exchanges. It seems to be the latest crackdown on crypto over there, as the Brits roll out their CBDC. In other news, we have Algorand working with the Clinton Foundation and its Clinton Global Initiative to help with climate change. I personally, this kind of puts a stain on Algorand for me, because I don't want crypto to be associated with certain individuals. I'm not saying I would love it if this was Trump either. I wouldn't prefer either of the names to be associated with Algorand, but I think it's inevitable. A lot of these protocols, layer ones, etc., will have some sort of use in the political scheme, one way or another. Whether it's actual super political based stuff, or maybe it's funds to help climate change or whatever. I opted in with Invest Voyager and Binance US. Hope this tragedy ends soon. Lost many tens of thousands, while I know others lost plenty more. It sucks. So DJ Crypto opting into the deal with Invest Voyager and Binance US for whatever reason. If this deal does not go through, then I believe Invest Voyager would just be liquidated. I personally kind of want this deal to just happen because the sooner people get their funds, the better. I know it's probably not the amount we all want, but it's better to get something when compared to nothing. If we drag out this process another 6 to 12 months, who knows if there's going to be any money left because Voyager continues to pay its ex employees or its current employees for doing what I'm not exactly sure. It seems kind of shady personally, but they're draining the remaining liquidity to pay these people. So the next Super Bowl bans cryptocurrency television commercials. This is pretty interesting development. Um, Considering Tom Brady was partnered with FTX, and he's a huge, sponsor of FTX. He was voted to hop on the platform, and then him and his ex-wife lost big time when they bet like I think a few $100 million on the exchange succeeding. But yeah, they got wrecked. Bull market and financial markets started in 1982. In particular, the last 10 years went into hyperdrive. All the factors that created that have, and not only stopped, they have reversed. This is according to Stanley Druckenmiller. As we discussed many, many times on this channel, he is quite the bull on Bitcoin. So uh, maybe he's going to come out with a statement endorsing Bitcoin further in the near future, considering the conditions or the factors that sent the markets into hyperdrive the past 10 years. All those factors have reversed. So, is he going to say that Bitcoin is an asset of safety, even considering all the macro and everything else considered? Again, time will tell. Jim Cramer saying interesting sell off. He's saying there's opportunity. Again, take everything this man says with a huge grain of salt and probably just do the opposite of what he's telling you to do. Costs could rise even more in 2023, and thousands of CEOs blame climate change again. There's this narrative that's going to be pushed heavily. I'm not a denier whatsoever of climate change. I do think, just like a certain um, ordeal we've been dealing with the past 2 3 years, I think it will be greatly utilized and manipulated to get people to fall in line a particular way. So that's just what I think. Stop the presses. No need to raise the debt limit. Biden is going after those billionaire waitresses tips. IRS introducing new service industry tip reporting program. This is pretty ridiculous. Again, it's funny how Biden said one thing, oh yeah, we're not going after the poor people, we're going after the rich people. Well, I don't really know any millionaires or billionaires who work in the service industry as a waitress or a waiter. Here we have Chat GPT talking about how there may be a potential crash next Wednesday, which is February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. They're saying that it seems like the timing's about right. That's just pretty crazy to think about. I'm not going to really. I don't really feel any particular way regarding this. I think it could be a um, maybe a ploy to mislead some people, and then maybe a week or two after something like that happens. But it's going to happen at some point. I feel like this year we're kind of like overdue a huge drawdown, but Maybe I'm just a bear at this point. One thing I would like to point out is, um, interestingly enough, not too surprisingly, but Janet Yellen the other day talked about how there's no recession in sight, the job market's healthy, we have the lowest unemployment in history for like the past 40 years or something like that. What's interesting about that statement is it got me thinking, could they potentially be saying this, that it's not so bad, so the Federal Reserve has an excuse to continue onwards with rate hikes? Hear me out. The Federal Reserve has talked time and time again about how inflation needs to be brought down to 2 to 3%. As of right now, we're sitting somewhere between 5 and 6%, and the interest rates are sitting somewhere around like 4.5%. So, though a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, they're not going to go above 5%," to control inflation, and again, they're positioning the markets, they're telling the average consumer, "Oh, there is no recession. Things are okay. We have really low unemployment. There's plenty of jobs." That it's a perfect narrative for them to up interest rates, if you ask me. I don't know how high they're going to go, but it is very possible that we see 6 to 7%. Like, I don't see the Federal Reserve pausing interest rates before quarter 3. I think we're going to have a quarter of pain, more or less. So at the next 3 to 4 Fed meetings, I think we will see somewhere between 1.5 and 2% added to what we have right now, which is, I believe, right around 4.5%. Correct me if I'm wrong. And markets are going to suffer significantly. Now, if the Federal Reserve pauses in early quarter 3, maybe we see a pivot of some sort in quarter 4. But then again, maybe this stuff gets dragged out into next year. Maybe we don't see a pivot until quarter 1 of next year, or maybe even quarter 2 of next year. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think the markets are just
Are still pumping.
are are very misleading with the way things are gonna play out. But I'm gonna play this clip by a guy from Coin Bureau. Go check his channel out. He's very good. He does a lot of research. Um, it's interesting. Every now and then, like with this recent thing that I just talked about, him and I actually share some similar beliefs. So here, I'll play this clip, and then we'll talk about
The
it.
crypto market pump continues, guys. Does it make an awful lot of sense? Not really. Interest rates are still high. Inflation is still high. Yesterday, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, he sat down for a chat about the state of the US economy. And he basically said what he'd said in his press conference a few days previously, that the Fed had no plans to lower interest rates, that rates were going to stay high for the remainder of the year. Basically, the pivot that markets are craving wasn't on. But markets just don't seem to be believing him. They just seem to want to try and call his bluff. Yesterday, when he sat down, he repeated the phrase, the disinflationary process has started, and that just seems to have been enough for markets everywhere. They are still pumping. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense, but hey, let's enjoy it while it lasts. The crypto market pump continues, guys. Does it make an awful lot of sense?
So there you go. Like, there you have it. It's basically um the freeze looks pretty funny right now. The way this freeze on his face. But yeah, basically the markets are in disbelief. they're taking what Jerome Powell said, and they're kind of twisting it in a way to make it seem way better than what it really is, and it's going to get a lot of people wrecked because a lot of people are going to turn bullish if they haven't turned bullish already. They're putting money into the market and then they're going to get wrecked possibly. I'm not saying there's no possibility that markets start reversing here, but it's very, very unlikely. Again, the markets are being overly optimistic. Again, they're distorting what Jerome Powell is saying. Jerome Powell basically has said time and time again that they're not going to be pausing just yet, which means a pivot is not in the forecast for the time being. Um, Again, maybe we see a pause of some sorts late quarter 2, maybe some point in quarter 3. But we're not there yet, and markets are overly optimistic. And the way the game is played, the big dogs try and get as much liquidity in the system, and then Rex said liquidity, and that's how they make the most money. So again, don't buy the narrative that things are going to go considerably higher just now. I'd say not financial advice, but I would think long term, what are projects that you want to be investing in? Personally, I'm just sticking to Bitcoin for the most part right now. I think even though Bitcoin is sitting below 23K, I don't see it going a whole lot higher. Maybe best case scenario, we go up another 5 to 10%, and then we dump from there. But I think it's more likely that Bitcoin goes lower than it breaks, let's say 25 or 30K. I don't see Bitcoin doing that anytime soon. But again, maybe I'm just a bear. Maybe I just have my biases. I like Cardano. I think Matic is a potential play. I may start DCAing into. I like Polkadot still. Cosmos is cool. Again, these are just my picks more or less for all coins, not financial advice. But that about does it for today, everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's stream. If you did, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified when we go live next. Please share with your friends and family. If you found this video entertaining, educational, or informative in any way, shape, or form. Until tomorrow, guys, please take care and invest wisely. See you tomorrow, 9:15.